Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Audio levels are looking good. How's it going, everyone? My name is Andrew. Thank you for joining the Launchpad today. We are sitting here looking at a pretty frosty, pretty active booster number 7 here at Starbase. We're looking at a live view of Booster 7. And what we're hoping to see here in just a little while is some potential testing. So SpaceX is clearly prepping for a test. We have an overpressure notice sent out, so we do believe that a static fire could be on the agenda for today. Alternatively, there's a chance this could be a spin prime test as well, but because that overpressure notice went out, that could be an indication that we're going to be getting a static fire here shortly. Thanks for joining everybody so far. I see some people watching from Poland, Arizona. How's it going, everyone? Hi, John. Hi, Jeff. Ray is watching from Ireland. It's a bit windy out here, Michael. So we got some camera shake from the wind. It actually is one of the windier days that I've seen down here yet. But yeah, again, my name is Andrew. Thanks for joining the Launchpad. We're going to be taking a close look at Booster 7 here as it prepares for either a static fire or another test. Welcome, Dubstep. Welcome, John. Damien, welcome from New York City. John says earthquake. They don't actually get very many earthquakes down here at all. It's one of the least active regions for earthquakes as far as I've looked up, at least. When I moved down here, it was just kind of checking out like how often hurricanes hit, how often they get earthquakes. It does not seem like they get earthquakes often at all. Michael said he suspected the wind, just an observation, not a complaint. Absolutely. No worries. We've been working to make some improvements to our camera setup here, and I think we've made a lot of improvement over the last couple months. I was just waiting for my bitrate to stabilize a little bit here, but yeah, we're going to keep working on making improvements. I see a question here from CW. Will the clamping system be strong enough to hold the booster in place, or will it go boom? Inquiring minds want to know. I think that's one of those things we're just going to have to wait to find out and see. Though I don't expect there to be a problem. I think that's something that they've considered and run some math against, and I'm sure they've mathed that out. But you never know, so we'll have to wait and see. But that actually brings me to a good question. Why don't we take a quick poll in chat and just drop in chat how many engines you think they might static fire today. If they do a static fire, are we going to see 3? Are we going to see 4? Are we going to see 5? Are we going to see 10, 33? What do you think? Let me know how many engines you think SpaceX is going to static fire next. John can't wait for the first launch from Texas and recovery with the chopsticks in Florida. I can't wait for both of those things either. The launch and the first recovery, those are going to be absolutely amazing things to see, especially the recovery. I cannot wait to see that. Bruce, not yet. No nominal or off nominal booms so far. We're just seeing some locks load and probably fueling this up for the next test. Pretty hot day down here at the South Padre Island viewing location, and it's been pretty nice so far this week, so we're gonna have to see how the week progresses and see what SpaceX has in store for testing. I see some OLM venting starting now. Dubstep's twin is watching from Miami, Florida. That's cool. Was just in Florida for the SLS launch attempts a couple weeks ago, last week, whenever that was. B. Getch thinks all of the engines are going to be tested. Now, I personally don't know if they're going to go for 33 engines today, but you never know. They could. They very well could. Things are getting real frosty down there at the bottom of the booster. I would keep a close eye there. We would expect to hear a siren prior to a static fire test. There's always the chance that they're going to try to do, there's always the chance that we don't get word of the siren. There's always also a chance that they're going to go for a spin prime test. I would keep a real close eye on the screen as we get closer to this test here, because you never know when it's going to happen. And if I do see this, hold comms for a second here. But if I do see a static fire, I'll be able to get the camera or the mic set up in time that you might be able to hear it. It takes quite a few seconds for that sound to come, so let's keep an eye on the base of the vehicle here. I'm going to mute for a quick second, and I'm actually going to step outside the vehicle because I think we're expecting to see a test here. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry about that. I have my eyes on the booster. Looks like we had a spin prime test. So now we're going to stand by and wait to see what's next for SpaceX testing. We often see these spin primes before they do static fires, so we're going to hold tight and see if we see them prepare for the next test, which would probably be a static fire. Bruce says, honestly, SpaceX has been the only one that has been successful with the launches and tests. Lately, it's the last second delays and aborts by the competitors. Yeah, SpaceX has just been launching so many vehicles lately. It's kind of hard to argue with that, but there are a lot of up and coming launch providers that I'm personally excited about. And I think the more diversity that we have as far as other launch providers in the industry is a good thing. Yeah, I think I think I agree with you, but I hope to see that change. I hope to see a lot of successful launches from a lot of companies. And I want to take a moment to give a big shout out to Michael Pedersen or Peterson. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but please feel free to let me know if I got that wrong. For that super chat, that was very generous. Thank you so much. You're helping us continue to do what we do and get this content out to you. So thank you. And just once again, folks, that's a huge shout out to Michael. Thank you so much for that support. Thank you very much for that. John says, dinner prep underway. Very good, John. What you having tonight? Anything good? Owen says, oh gosh, someone please inspire me. Well, you know what? If we see a static fire test today, I will be inspired, and I think you might be too. Eddie said they had a lot of unsuccessful landings too. Eddie, if you're talking about SpaceX, yep, quite a few of the original Falcon 9 landings were unsuccessful. So that is a great point. It took some time and effort to get it up to speed. I do want to run a quick test here to see how my audio is while we're getting the current bitrate we're getting. I think this will be some useful information for me moving forward as I'm watching the bitrate go up and down here. But let me know how I sound right now. Give me a 5x5 if I sound good. If I don't sound too good, let me know. Bruce asks, do we know any information about this engine? Is it a first fire? So we don't exactly know which engines they're going to shoot for on the static fire attempt, but we do know that they did multiple engines on the last static fire attempt. I think they were going for 3. I think they were able to get 2 done successfully, and then I think they swapped one of those engines out. So we don't quite know which engines they're going to be going for today, but we are... we're hoping for a multi-engine test here, so this won't just be a single engine fire. This might be multiple. They could be going for a full ring. They could be going for 10, 20, 30 engines for all we know. So we're just going to have to sit tight and stand by and watch SpaceX as they prepare. Robert Sutton is watching from New Zealand. Very cool. Plenty of threat of rain in Florida. I feel like a lot of parts of Florida it rains almost every day. That's what it feels like when I'm visiting, at least. I'm seeing a lot of 5x5s in chat, which is a great thing. That means to me that even when my bitrate is a bit lower than usual, then I can still keep up the commentary. So hopefully I'll have some less pauses in between my my comments now. Just want to make sure that I'm giving the best experience we can with the technology that we're using here. Of course, this stream is being brought to you via Starlink. Of course, that's not a sponsor or anything. That's just the technology we're using to bring you this stream here today. So this video feed is going up to space and coming back down to you. So we are continuing to learn about this technology as we use it, and we're yeah, it's exciting to try to kind of work through all this stuff. Bruce is watching from Vancouver, eager for the post-test results. Same here. It'll be good to hear exactly what they find. FL is asking about time frame. So Cheeky, we had a spin prime just a little bit ago. So if they're going to go for a static fire today, it would be a little bit before they can recycle it. I'd say at least a half hour, maybe 45 minutes, but they're always changing up their processes, so we'll have to stand by and see. Cheeky says it rains there every day. I'll just take a quick moment to thank everybody for coming by so far. Thanks for everybody that has stopped in and chatted or is just kind of lurking in the background watching along. Thanks for the super chat again, Michael, so far. Yeah, I appreciate all the support. It means a lot if you're just coming here, hanging out with us, and supporting us. We want to keep bringing you this footage, and we want to keep giving you as much Starbase content as we can. Your support is what helps us do that. So thank you so much, everybody. We're not done for today. We saw a spin prime test, and we're hoping to see potentially a static fire as well. So kick back, settle in, and join us for this trip of watching SpaceX prepare for another test potentially. Slow says, detanking, no broomstick today, or boomstick today. Neutron, if they are detanking, then that doesn't necessarily mean they're done testing for the day. They're still quite a whiles away sorry that I'm stuttering on my words today. I didn't sleep a lot last night, but that's okay. We're going to get through this. What I was trying to say is that even if they are detanking, that doesn't mean they're done testing for the day. They still have plenty of time to potentially reload propellant and go for a static fire or something. So don't hold up. Don't give up yet. One good indication is if like the roadblock clears or something along those lines. So we're just gonna keep a tight look here. Stuart says hi from the UK. Starlink is the way forward. I think that Starlink is doing some wonderful things. I think it's an incredible technology. I think it also has a long way to go, but it's unlike anything we've seen before for this price, so it's pretty impressive. Cheeky says if it doesn't rain, there's a serious problem. Some unexpected weather when it doesn't rain, it sounds like. Bruce says another company I heard about recently, they were attempting a launch of a completely 3D printed rocket. Wonder if they were successful. I'm curious which one you might be talking about. I don't recall which one on the top of my head is 3D printed completely, but it might be either, I don't know if it's Relativity or Firefly. I know some of them have 3D printed components, but I don't know if one of them could be considered fully 3D printed. Michael says, I suppose that Starlink are a lot more affordable than a satellite-based telephone system years ago that was launched with lots of tiny satellites, then deorbited because there was too few customers. Was that Iridium by any chance, Michael? But even if not, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, it seems to be a good step above that, going above and beyond what they were able to do with that project. So there's been some time that has passed since the last time we've tried to do widespread communication via satellite like this. So it seems like the new technology is helping out and trying to accomplish that goal of connecting the world together. Am I on a boat? Not on a boat, but we got quite a bit of wind, and right now we got the AC going, so we're keeping all of our equipment cool, and that keeps some vibration going in the vehicle as well. That's the next thing we're gonna work on for y'all. We upgraded the camera not too long ago, so now we have a camera, and the quality of it is about as good as we need for this distance. Of course, we're gonna try to get you better and closer shots as well, but for this camera location, we're kind of the limits of the heat distortion now, as you can see. But we are getting into the cooler months. It doesn't get cold here, but some of that heat distortion may go away as we go into some of these streams in the next few months. Like I said, we're going to keep trying to bring you bigger and better content, closer and better cameras as well. But now that we got this camera situated and we got it up and running and we got it all working for y'all, the next thing that we're going to do is try to work on any of these vibrations and wind, and we're going to get that settled. So we're going to keep pushing forward and making this better every time. I like to kind of think of what we're doing here, kind of like how SpaceX is developing Starship. We're adding improvements in as we go along, and we're testing it. We could wait until we have a perfect rocket or a perfect stream, but that might be kind of like NASA and SLS. Now, granted, I'm a huge fan of SLS, and I want to see it launch, but you know, we're not going to wait until it's absolutely perfect to bring you this content. We want to make sure that you're here with us. Speaking of which, had a quick drop there for a moment. That would be a Starlink handoff. So that is our Starlink dish was connecting with the next Starlink satellite. So that was a pretty hard drop there for a quick moment. But like I was saying, we're on a journey here, and we're glad you're on this journey with us as we bring you the best content that we can. We're going to keep making improvements as we go. It's exciting for us, and we hope it's exciting for you too. Old Sasquatch says, we have come a long ways from Mercury. I've been fascinated since the beginning. We have come so far. Just look at the difference in rockets and everything now. It's crazy. Is the cam in the vehicle? It should be on a tent on solid ground. So it's actually outside the vehicle, but it does still, the way it's set up right now, I would have to share a picture with you to kind of explain what's going on here, but we need to find another way to mount the camera so it's completely separated from the vibrations of the vehicle. Right now it is attached to the ground, as well as it has an attachment to the vehicle as well. There is some rubber, just giving it a moment for a bit right here. It has some rubber to kind of dampen as much of these vibrations as possible. But yeah, we would like to completely separate it from the vehicle, so we just got to work on making or finding some sort of stand. This is not a standard camera. This is a very heavy camera that doesn't have your usual consumer camera mounting. So we're gonna keep working on that. Michael says, other channels tell us to smash the like button. Poor thing. Like button abuse when a gentle press will do. So yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind just gently tapping that like button. Don't hurt it, just gently tap it, and that'll help us a lot. It really helps us get the content out to more people. There's a lot of people out there that could and would be very excited about all the stuff that's happening, and just haven't come across the stream yet. So it helps us get the stream to more people. Eddie says, concentrate on your strength. You have a wide scope and follow a lot of different countries and companies. It's very true. We try to cover as much as possible, and I think that is a great thing that we're doing here at the launch pad. So I really appreciate that comment. It's very positive. Thank you. Damien says, iridium is still the way to go for sat phones. I have friends who are research scientists who are constantly in the field. They and I have used iridium phones. Yeah, I've definitely heard of them being a solution for satellite comms. So good to know they're still around. Michael says, I suspect that an extreme zoom will make any shaking look large. Absolutely. Absolutely. You would not be able to tell that there's any shaking going on in the vehicle, or that the wind. Actually, with the wind today, I think you would have a feeling that the wind could affect it. But generally speaking, a lot of these vibrations, you would have no idea. It's just because we're zoomed in so much. But there is more ways to isolate from that vibration, so we'll keep working on it. We do appreciate all the feedback, by the way. Any comments that you have, we do take to heart. So thank you. Helly says no static fires today. I'd be curious why you think that, Helly. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, 2018. It's possible, it's possible that they might be done for the day, but we have no indication of that so far. Although I will say that over the last few minutes, the little bit of white you could see at the bottom of Booster 7 does look like it's kind of receded a bit, which would indicate that they are working on detanking operations. Again, does that mean that they're done testing? Absolutely not. Doesn't mean they could be done testing. It's possible. It is possible that they could be done testing. But we're going to stay here until we have a very clear answer of if they're done testing, because we've seen them in this stage before many times, and they've reloaded up and gone for a static fire or something. So I'm not calling it until we see some strong evidence otherwise. Absolutely, Lucas. Rest in peace. Many of our team, that's where their thoughts have been over the last couple days, so. Benny says blast off. Well, it's possible that we could see a blast today, but it wouldn't be a blast off. It would just be a static fire with the engines igniting, but the vehicle staying on the pad today. So it's entirely possible we could see that. And just a reminder, if you're just joining us, we saw a spin prime test of Booster 7 just a little while ago. There is 4 hours left in the testing window. It appears that they may be doing some sort of detanking operation on Booster 7 right now. So they're going to either detank and then go for another test, or they're going to detank and say they're done for the day. But if there's a potential, there is a overpressure notice sent out for today. So if there is a possible static fire testing, we're going to stick around and so we don't miss it. I'm hearing that the Firefly mission was scrubbed for today. I don't have a verification of that, but if anybody's watching that feed, please let me know if that is true. Absolutely, Benny. Absolutely, Dawn. We want to make sure we take these moments and remember and make sure that these types of things never happen again. It's kind of crazy how much time has flown by since then, but it's important to always remember. Thank you, Kevin, for the confirmation of that. Benny, just an FYI, I think Nightbot doesn't like the all caps. I think that's why he got muted there. But how far from the launch pad from here? We're about 5 miles from that launch site that we're seeing right in front of us here. About 5 miles. There's nothing but water and a little bit of land between us, but it's mostly this water you're seeing. Okay, if anybody is just joining us, I do want to give a quick recap of what we've seen so far. Settling in a little bit here to the stream now. My name is Andrew. This is the launch pad. We have a live view here of Starbase. This is SpaceX's Booster 7. This is part of the Starship launch vehicle. This is super heavy Booster 7. We saw a spin prime test just a little while ago. That's when they load liquid oxygen through the engines. You see a big puff of cloud come out of the bottom of the vehicle, and that's a good test, and generally speaking, that is a test that happens before a static fire. Now a static fire test will completely ignite the engines and generate thrust for a period of time, anywhere from 1 second to, I think we've seen 20 seconds. But hypothetically, they could go all the way up to a full duration static fire, which would be multiple minutes. But that's not exactly what we're expecting to see today. If we see a static fire today, it'll likely be a handful of engines, could be a full ring. I don't know, I'd say anywhere from 3 to 10, 20 is possible, but we're not too sure. And we don't exactly know where SpaceX stands with testing today. We do know that the road is still closed, and that they have detanked or partially detanked that booster. So generally speaking, when we see that booster is getting detanked, that indicates that they're going to either load propellant again for the next stage of testing, or they'll call it a day. But we are holding tight because we want to see if they're going to static fire this thing today. So thanks for joining us so far. We'll be with you here for a bit longer, and we want to see some flames come out of this thing. Thank you, MJ Brown. We appreciate that comment. Thanks for coming. Michael says the coolest thing with Starship is that it looks like a rocket ship out of a Flash Gordon movie. It does look a lot like some of the old the designs of some rockets you might have seen in that era, across a few different pieces of like popular media and entertainment. It does quite look like that, which is pretty dang cool if you ask me. It looks a bit retro. I do want to give you another quick update about the Starship program in general. You may have seen just a few days ago that there was a full static fire of all 6 engines on Ship 24. You can catch that on our Twitter. I believe it was posted to our Twitter. So yeah, check that out. And that was a big step forward for the program. That could put Ship 24 into a category that you might call flight ready. Now, we don't know if they want to do some more testing to it, but since they've done full static fire testing on all 6 engines, and when I say full, I don't mean full duration, but they did fire all 6 engines. So maybe that Ship 24 is just ready for flight now. So maybe now they just need to prepare Booster 7, do all the static fires that they want to do on Booster 7, and then maybe they'll be ready to stack Ship 24 on top of the booster and send this thing to space. So that was a really, really big point forward here for SpaceX in this program. So again, if you didn't check that out, make sure you check our Twitter. We got some great video of that. Benny it does look a little bit like a drilling rig. You're yeah, you're onto something there. Appreciate that comment, MJ. Thanks so much for the support. And if you did catch the static fires, or I guess whether you caught the Ship 24 static fire or not a few days ago, you may have heard that there was some after effects from the static fire. It looked like maybe some brush had caught fire, it spread a little bit. I think fire crews actually had to do another control burn to get it all situated. So that was another part of the event from the static fires the other day. So we're just keeping an eye out to see what that develops into. But This is something that happens from time to time with these types of tests, and hopefully we'll see some additional mitigations from, to avoid doing that again in the future. So we'll see if they make any changes there. Now, I don't expect that they would have the same issue with the Booster 7 static fires because they are on the orbital launch mount. I don't think it's an issue that they're going to have to deal with for a long time. If they keep wanting to do testing on the suborbital mount, they will have to make some changes probably if they don't want to cause that again. So we'll have to keep an eye out. We'll if we see any changes happening there, we'll let you know. But if they're moving most of the operations to this orbital mount soon, then that will be good. Bruce says he's still trying to grasp the size required for 100 passengers to Mars. It'll be a high rise. Yeah, if you ever get a chance, come on down to Starbase and see this vehicle for yourself. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. And if you're looking on the horizon here, it's about 5 miles from the South Padre Island, which is kind of like the busier touristy area. It's really the only big thing on the horizon. You do see all the build site buildings and everything, but it might as well be a skyscraper, especially that tower. The tower is absolutely massive. MJ says, do you know what this booster may be used for? What's your local time, please? I'm too lazy to find out. No worries at all here. The local time is 4:12 Eastern, or not Eastern. It is 4:12 p.m., and that is because I'm in the Central Time Zone. 4:12 Central Time. What this booster may be used for. So we think that this is going to be used for the first ever orbital flight of this rocket. So this is, of course, the Starship launch vehicle that is being developed by SpaceX. Has not gone to orbit yet. They've done some suborbital high altitude flight tests and low altitude hop tests. This booster, we've never seen a booster fly before. That's what we're looking at here today. This is the second tallest thing in frame to the left of the launch tower. So the booster is going to lift Starship up to high altitudes, and then Starship will light its engines and continue its way out to orbit. So we believe that this booster that we're looking at here right now, live, is going to be the first booster that will lift the first Starship to orbit, which is really exciting. They're really getting close. Still waiting to see if this thing's going to happen this year. I personally think that there's still a decent chance that this happens this year. Sometime in the next couple months. I know we're getting close to the end of the year, but I think it's doable. We'll have to see. James says, hi from Australia. Welcome, James. Welcome. Thank you, Stellar, for that. This booster is for Starship. And this is Booster... Oh, boy. Booster 7. We expect Starship S24 to be lifted to orbit by Booster 7. Also known as Super Heavy. They call the booster stage the Super Heavy stage. No problem, MJ. Space AU says, so it had a spin prime test. Will there be a static fire? That is our hopes, and that is what we're thinking. Again, we saw some de-tanking operations on the vehicle. So we're kind of in a standby here to see if they're going to go for another test or if they might be done for the day. But again, spin prime test is a good indication that they're hoping to do a static fire. Whether that's going to happen today or tomorrow, we don't quite know yet. And it could happen later this week as well. But we're hoping that we're hoping that this goes today. Yeah, that is a great question, Bruce. You could send 100 people to Mars, but on the 6-month journey, what are they going to be up to? Yeah, for sure. I think you'll have to send multiple of these and split the people up. I don't think you can fit 100 people in one of these comfortably. And when I say one of these, of course, I mean Starship. Let's take a real quick zoom into Starship S24, which is currently being supported by a crane. I'm just going to zoom out and then I'll zoom back in. That is ship S24 over on the right-hand side of things. So, I mean, you might be able to fit 100 people in that, but I don't think we're going to see 100 people in that going to Mars. Not right away, at least. CW says 5x5. Thank you so much, CW. If anybody has any further questions about SpaceX or the Starship program, please feel free to let us know in chat, and we'll do our best to answer those for you. And if you have any questions not about Starship, those are okay too. Artemis or SLS, NASA, SpaceX, Rocket Lab, Astra, any of those things, please feel free to ask those while we hang out here and wait to see what is going to happen next with Booster 7 today. Bruce thinks that it means we'll have to research cryogenics for some sort of sleep hibernation. I do think that would be a beneficial tool for long space travel. We'll have to see where the industry goes with that one. That is a great theory, Michael. I think that could happen. I could definitely see that shaping up to be that way. What is this giant ship? Wow. Sorry, I just blew everybody's eardrums out. Let me see if I can zoom out real quick. That caught me by surprise. I wasn't even looking in real life. I was just looking at the screen. And then it was just covered by the ship. That's hilarious. They will have to be very prepared for a potentially years-long journey. Yeah, they're gonna have to do a lot of research and making sure that humans are, mentally ready for such an event like that, to be stuck on a ship for such a long time. And I know there's you can compare it to some of the cross ocean ships back in the day, but it's different for sure. Y'all should y'all should see that ship in real life. It is absolutely massive. Now, JB, that's a. Oh, I'm gonna wait for my bitrate to come up a little bit here before I address that question. So, JB says using Neuralink to keep somebody in like a state of virtual reality while they're getting nutrients from like an IV drip. I think that's a really interesting theory. I think I've seen some like videos and TV shows about similar things to that, and I think that's something that's kind of not too far off in the future, but definitely a little bit further off than in the next few years. I know we already have VR and everything, but if we're talking about full dive with like a Neuralink type of situation, I think that'd be cool. That would be cool. I think it would scare a lot of people, rightfully so as well. Rich people sailing their boats wherever. I don't know if that was. I don't even know what kind of ship that was. I think it was a container ship or something. It all happened so fast. Oh, Liam DK actually tells us. He says, a G2 class container ship. Don't see many of those these days. So that was a class 2 container ship. G2 class. Send retired submariners to Mars. That makes some sense. Yeah, they're used to being cramped in space. That's a good point. That's a good point. If we had some people that would volunteer to do that, I think that's a good group of candidates. He says, no, it's an Alabama class. Oh, okay. It's an Alabama class ship. Dark humor. Did I miss something? I might have missed. Might have missed the joke there. Yeah, it's a good question, Michael. People have dealt with similar timelines in a ship, many, many years ago. I think if you ever get a chance to read the book, what's it called? Project Hail Mary. It's a space travel fiction book. I think it's Andy Weir. I think it's the author of The Martian that wrote it. It's very, very good. They talk a lot about the struggles that humans might have during a long duration ship journey, but we're talking much longer than 6 months. Space AU thinks they may test the inner 2 rings. They mean the 3 center engines aren't even in the rings. Gotcha. Understood. Bruce says this is one of the tests, or if they come out missing a cone or 2, it'll raise eyebrows more than worries. Taking a look down at the base of Booster 7, I'm still seeing a lot of venting from the tank farm. Not seeing much venting from the launch mount, although maybe a little bit. So we're just kind of still in a holding pattern here to see what's next. Again, if you're just joining us, on the menu for today is still a potential static fire. We're not 100% positive that they where they are in that process, or if they're 100% going to go for that today, but it's looking like they might. Hopefully Mars travelers can avoid scurvy, though. Isn't that pretty easily solved with now, the knowledge that we have nowadays with nutrition, or is there additional issues there? Space A Youth says, do you think Firefly will scrub again? LOL. If I heard correctly, I think it did scrub for today, but I do think that they're going to get off the ground and go. I think they're going to go to orbit. That's my feeling. I think they're going to make it. Whatever their next launch attempt is, I think they got it. I wonder what these folks on this boat are doing here. Wonder if they're fishing or if they're just enjoying the view. Michael says, cryosleep also saves on life support resources. Very, very true. Is there plans to build at Launch Complex 49? LC-49. You mean Slick 40? LC? Which one's LC-49? Unless you mean 39, and in that case, yes. They're building another tower. But I kind of forget which one 49 is, if I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, confirmation that Firefly is scrubbed today due to weather. Next launch attempt target is September 19th and 20th. September 19th and 20th for the next Firefly attempts. Space AU says, no, I mean LC-49. Hasn't been built yet. Gotcha. So that's on the, if it's LC, it's got to be on the Kennedy Space Center side, right? See you later, Space AU. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the chats and the questions. We'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us so far. For anybody that's just joining us, we are holding tight to see if SpaceX is going to recycle on their testing today and go for a static fire. We did see a spin prime test. I think it was around 3:30 Central Time, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think 3:30 was about right. And we're hoping to see a static fire next. In the corner of my eye, I am also keeping my eye on suborbital tank farm and Ship 24. But considering that Ship 24 is being supported with the crane, I don't think that they're going to go for any sort of static fires on the ship today. Alright folks, I'm going to take a quick break here as we're waiting to see what SpaceX does next. So we'll keep this live feed going for you. I'll be back in just a few minutes time. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to drop those in the chat. But yeah, I'm just going to step away for a couple minutes. You're going to hear the mic go muted here for just a minute while I set up the mic to get some ambience for you. But yeah, stand by. on mute for just a second here. All right, I am back. If you're just joining us, my name is Andrew, and you are joining the launch pad. We got live views of Booster 7 on the pad at Starbase in Boca Chica, Texas, and we're waiting to see if SpaceX is going to do additional testing. We saw a spin prime earlier. We're hoping to see a static fire next. Let me just catch up with some comms here to see if I missed any updates during my short break there. So bear with me, and I'm going to get to some of your comments and questions here in a second as well. Okay, it doesn't look like I missed too much. It looks like we're still kind of in a holding pattern to see if SpaceX is going to do another test today or if they're going to wait for another day this week. But we're holding tight in case they do want to do that static fire today. So now let me catch up on some questions and comments here. Among Us asks, any chance SN24 would simply fall off Booster 7 on launch, resulting in damage to the chopsticks? Silly question, I know. It's all bolted up. There are various things that could happen during launch that are unexpected, that could cause damage to the chopsticks or the launch mount or tower. I don't know how likely that one would be. I feel like there's some other more likely scenarios that could happen relating to, unexpected RUDs on the vehicle, stuff like that. But it's not impossible. I'll put it that way. It is not impossible, but it wouldn't be on my personal list of top 5 things that could go wrong. NFA says, I always see the SpaceX stuff fly over my house and never gets old. That's really cool. What kind of things do you see? Do you see like launches from one of the launch sites, or do you see Starlink? What types of things do you see over your house, NFA? Money Team says, happy birthday to you. Stephen Smith says, am looking forward to when they finally put ship into orbit and safely recover it. Me too, Steven. I've been down here watching them work on this thing for a few months now, and it's just gonna be such a crazy experience when they finally launch this thing and recover it. It's gonna be so cool. It's just gonna be so cool. Now that I'm back from my break, if you have any further questions, please feel free to let me know. We are standing by. We're seeing what SpaceX is up to next. Thanks everybody for joining so far. We're not leaving you yet, but I do want to thank everybody for hanging out, for chatting, super chats, liking, and subscribing. All of those things help us very, very much in our goal to get as many people excited about this stuff as possible. So thank you everybody for all the support so far in this stream, and continuing forward until we see what's going to happen here. Let me get my other phone here charging. do still have 3 hours left in this window, so plenty of time to do a static fire if that's what they wanted to do. So we're standing by to see how everything progresses here. Dropping my phones everywhere. Still seeing some venting come from the tank farm. Not seeing any venting from the launch mount. Keeping my eye out on any updates about road closures, stuff like that. Of course, I will get a text message if the road closure opens. And if we do see the road closure open, that would be a pretty good indication that they're done for testing today, or at least done for testing for now. But we are not at that point yet. I am seeing reports of potentially somebody going to the pad, so that would be either SpaceX team, somebody that could be clearing the orbital area, sorry, the launch site for an eventual full road opening, or somebody could be going to check something out and fix something. So we're just gonna have to stand by and see. So let's see here. In our earlier poll, when we were asking how many engines do you think SpaceX will static fire, overwhelmingly people thought it was 10 or more engines. Now, will we get to a static fire today? We don't quite know. I personally would still like to see a static fire today, but we're going to have to see what the vehicle that went to the pad is all about. But it seems like overwhelmingly y'all think it's going to be 10 or more engines. I don't necessarily disagree. I've not received any notice that the road is open, so that's a good sign. I'm signed up for a text messaging service that I'll physically get a text message when the road is officially open to the public. So whenever that happens, that's, a really good indicator of testing being done. But since I have not received that yet, we are not done for the day quite yet. We are just checking in to see if we've been provided any updates with what's going on with SpaceX testing today. We do know that they had a spin prime test earlier in the day. And the current question is, are they done or are they going to continue? So we're just doing some research trying to figure that out for y'all. Thanks for the patience while we work on trying to figure out what's going on. Alright, so I just touched base with the team, and here's what we're going to do. So if you're just joining us, we saw SpaceX do a spin prime test of Booster 7 a couple hours ago at this point, and they detanked, and they haven't done. We haven't seen prop load since that happened. Now it's been a while since that's been prime. We did see a couple reports of vehicles heading towards the pad. The road is still closed, but we do see pretty often that they'll send a couple vehicles into the pad, check things out, make sure it's good to reopen the road. So we're kind of expecting to see the road open here shortly, which would indicate that SpaceX is probably done testing for the day. Long story short, I'm gonna take a minute here to thank everybody, but we're gonna wrap the stream up for now. I'm gonna hang out in the area for a bit. I'm gonna go grab a smoothie, and in the event that we see any prop load, then I'll head back over here. One thing I am noticing is that they still have the chopsticks further up top on the vehicle. Maybe that's just because it's not detanked fully. Generally speaking, when they're done testing, they'll drop those down. So I'm going to keep an eye on the vehicle. If for any reason it looks like they're going to go for another test, we will start the stream back up. But right now it's looking like they might be going for, and they might be wrapping up testing for the day. So in case this is the last you hear from me for the day, I'll say my thanks and byes now. But for any reason, if we end up streaming again later, then we'll talk to you later too. But yeah, so my name is Andrew. This is the Launchpad. Thanks for joining us as we watched SpaceX do what looked like a successful spin prime test of Booster 7. They're preparing Booster 7 for orbital launch. They finished testing 24 for orbital launch, so 24 is probably good to go, unless they decide to do additional testing. We'll have to see. But we really appreciate all of the comments, the interactions, the liking, the subscribing, the super chats. Your support helps us so much and it helps us accomplish our goals here at the Launchpad. So thank you so much for all the support. You guys mean everything to us. It's really, really great to see y'all in here from all over the world chatting with us and chatting with each other too. So thank you all very much. Maybe I'll talk to you later, but if not, I'll talk to you probably sometime later this week as SpaceX continues their testing. So that's it for me, everybody. For now, thank you, and we will talk to you soon.